the origin of bitterness is going to be anger and hurt. It starts with anger, but then it progresses to pain. It's when you kind of mill into that pain area for far too long that you end up with problems, and it basically matures anger into bitterness. Now, you let this thing fester, it can be a catalyst into vengeful acts. It will certainly prevent you from being present. What's the guy's name? Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. Good book. It's not like a lot of guys will read my book, The Unplugged Alpha, and they'll be like, yeah, it kind of leans in a certain direction, but I understand it, right? My book would not exist had I not gone through I'm going to say 20 or 30 top books on my list, and Power of Now is probably in that. It's a little bit woo-saw, but it's certainly worth the read. I'm pretty sure I put it in my Amazon bookstore if you check that link pinned in my top comments. Now, the problem with the whole bitterness is it also facilitates a victim mindset. So if you think about somebody you know right now, maybe it's even you, and you're thinking about the bitterness, you can't have that level of bitterness without some level of a victim mindset, which is really a loser's mindset. Oh, they crossed me. I had a couple of thoughts here to consider. I jotted down. Let me just scroll down a little bit here. So here's something that you should consider. Did this person who hurt you consciously intend to treat you in a malicious way? Did they go out of your way? Did they go out of their way to wreck your life, so that it would cause the bitterness? Because I bet you on a balance of probability, chances are they didn't. Right? There may be cases from time to time where it was a personal vendetta against you, maybe something retaliatory. Did you deserve it? I don't know. Maybe not. But I think more often than not, they don't intend to do it. It's just that they're putting their own agenda ahead of yours, and hurting you happens to be the byproduct of that. The way that I put it here in my talking points is that your offender is most likely solipsistic and more concerned with their own agenda than hurting you. You guys can scroll down to the description or just expand there. I got some of the talking points. Apparently they help with keyword searches as well. Anyway, so a lot of guys come to the Mano Swamp looking for answers. And one of the reasons why they do is because they get hurt. They sometimes have one-itis for a girl, which is just an unhealthy attachment to one chick. They think that, she's the only one. She can only ever be the only one, Rich. I have to get her back. How do I get her back? No. Most likely it comes from a place of solipsism. And we know women are solipsistic. They have a hard time seeing past their own nose. That's fine. It's not a bug. It's a feature. It's part of their firmware. Just accept it. The whole point about this bitterness and getting past it is the solution becomes, it's kind of a version of forgiveness, if I'm being honest, but more specifically, looking at the events in a new light. So let me give you an example. Girlfriend cheats on you, whatever, you get angry, then you get bitter. Maybe you get angry and bitter. Maybe you get it because maybe you read some book somewhere. Maybe you watched some YouTube videos somewhere, and then it dawned on you, well, women are hypergamous, which means they just want the best they can possibly get. And Kevin in sales was better than me because I'm taught in caretaking or whatever. And then you go get angry, and you let it fester, and you watch a few more videos, and you join a Reddit and you subreddit, and you start to go back and forth with some guys. Yeah, that guy Kevin in sales. Why him? Why not me? I feel helpless now. This is bullshit. Maybe you get some resentment built into that with some retaliatory thoughts, right? But the bottom line is the solution to all of this is seeing the events in a new light. You just look at it for what it is. Kevin works in sales. We'll call it Becky. Becky, the girlfriend, starts smashing Kevin. You're no longer the best option. That's female nature. Does she care that you're hurt? No. Why? Women are solipsistic. They have a hard time seeing past their own nose. It's important for them to make sure that they're taken care of, right? They put themselves ahead of everything else. Okay, now we start to understand that. We see the events in a new light. Then we look at it and we go, oh, I'm no longer bitter. I think I'm going to go do something bigger and better than Kevin from sales. You don't become bitter, you become better. I could pretty much wrap up this entire show on that note and just put that into a clip. All right, that's it. We're done. Show's over. I'm kidding. Let me get to some of these super chats here. I gotta switch these screens over. Get my notes this way. There we go. Chris Baker, what about resentment towards people in general and the world, especially when people have been acting so stupid in 2020 and 2021? Yeah, resentment. So there was this audio program my dad gave me when I was like 19 or 20. I can't remember who it was. It might have been, I think it was Brian Tracy, if I'm being honest. And he was talking in one of the segments about the mind's eye and how we perceive shit. Another good book that ties into how the mind's eye operates is Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Very, very good book. But boom. He was talking about how resentment and guilt are the two most negative emotions you can feel. One's towards somebody else and one's towards yourself. And the funny thing about all these, like bitterness, the resentment, the anger, the guilt, when it starts to fester and pile up, it's like taking poison, hoping that the other guy's going to die, but you're really killing yourself. You know, it doesn't do you any good. So, you know, to Chris's point, he's talking about, especially when people have been acting so stupid in 2020 and they've been acting stupid in 2018 and 2019, in 1999 and 2000. Go back to 1999, 2000. Everybody thought the world was going to end because, and you know, for you younger guys out there that are 20 years old, you're not going to remember this, but we actually thought that there was a point in time that everything was going to stop working. Planes were going to fall out of the sky. Cars were going to stop driving because they were all, you know, computer controlled. Every bit of our device and data information was just going to implode on itself, because they said when they created computing, they didn't engineer into the idea that the year 2000 comes after 1999. So they just ran up the dates to 1999. 2000 comes around, nothing happened. People were acting stupid over that for a good 6 to 12 months. What else? You know, throughout history, humans act stupid. I've said this on Twitter a few times in the last couple of months. Go watch the movie Idiocracy. That movie is going to prove to be a documentary. I'm not going to live long enough to see it probably, but I'm telling you, it's going to prove to be a documentary. Mike Judge, that guy put some masterpieces together, not even knowing it. Anyway, so what about resentment to people in general and the world, especially when people have been acting so stupid? Who cares, Chris? It's you have to get to the point of forgiveness. Like this whole anger and bitterness, it's like you can take it as forgiveness, you can take it as I don't care, you can take it as a ZFG attitude, but really the point being is you don't have, there's only one part of the universe that you can control, and that's yourself. You're not going to control anybody else. You're not going to control a chick you're dating. You're not going to control your boss, your business partner. You can't even control your employees to a certain degree. Control yourself, control your emotions. You know, it's about to it's about coming to peace with that. That's all it is. Think like the 1% says, how do you cope with not wanting to chase hoes and legitimately get more fulfillment out of a traditional family, and doing this while you're red pill aware? Okay, so you're basically asking about the difference between chasing tail and you're saying more fulfillment out of a traditional family. But I think if you ask a lot of men, and I'm sure women too, but I mean, most of you guys listening are men, they're going to probably tell you after 10 or 20 years of marriage, the whole fulfillment out of traditional family no longer exists. The social contract that you think exists probably existed in your granddad's day, maybe your great granddad's day, depending on how old you are when you're watching this. That social contract did exist then, but that's changed. You know, you have all the responsibility you've always had as a man, you know, as a husband, as a father, that you've always had for hundreds of years, but you no longer have the authority anymore. You no longer have the ability to, you know, a man's house is his castle and all that stuff. Nope. You don't have that anymore. That's been changed. Look, if you want to chase tail, chase tail. If you want to build a family, build a family. And do it while you're red pill aware, if you're going to do it at all. In fact, I would discourage anybody from getting married until they understand exactly what they're walking into. Until I have a chapter in my book. Okay. Boom. Shameless self-promotion. I have a chapter in my book. The title of the chapter is called Why Smart Men Don't Get Married. And I don't tell you don't get married. I don't tell you get married. All I tell you is all the reasons why from a red pill lens. So if you want to march into the slaughterhouse and go get married and have a traditional family and think it's going to give you the underlying fulfillment that you're looking for, okay, do it. But march into the slaughterhouse with your eyes wide open is all I'm saying. The biggest ROI over your chasing tail comment here is not chasing tail, is not building fulfillment in traditional family. It's not consuming every piece of red pill content that's out there. It's chasing excellence. You don't want Kevin from sales stealing your girl? Be better than Kevin from sales. Oh, but Rich, there's always somebody better than Kevin. You can never out alpha the state. Blah, 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 fucking blah. These are the bitter guys crying. They're the bitter and angry guys crying about stuff. And that's fine. People get angry. Like I said, anger is a legitimate response in the face of injustice. It is what it is. Kevin Delt says, Unplugged Alpha was killer and extremely concise. Appreciate that. Thank you. And by the way, if you guys enjoyed the book, do me a solid. Go to Amazon and leave a nice written review. Just let guys know what value you've gotten out of consuming that content. It's really important to share that part. Give it 5 stars all day long, please. I encourage you, but at least, like tell people what you got out of it. Give them a give on it. Devin says, "Hey Rich, started following you after the Tommy Lahren video." Oh yeah, that was a while ago. I'm sure, guys. I'm sure we're going to see another episode from some other TradCon blondie bombshell, or thinking she's a bombshell, about how awesome she is and how dumb men are. At some point this year, it feels like every 8 to 10 months something needs to come out. So you let me know when you see it. I want to thank you. You got me back my purpose since watching the videos and had my best fourth quarter last year and already met my goals this year. Fucking A, brother. Right on, man. That's what I like to hear. Don't blame snakes for doing what's in their nature. Exactly. I'm sure you guys heard the story about the scorpion and the frog crossing the river. The Too Long Didn't Read version of that story is the scorpion stings the frog and they both die. They both drown. So, don't get mad at, humans for following their nature. It's one of the reasons why I love evolutionary psychology so much. I think one of my favorite books, I should probably go back and revisit it. What is it called? The Evolution of Desire, David Buss. Such a good book. Evo Psych is where it's at, guys. You want to unplug from cognitive biases and stop listening to dumb shit from dumb people on dumb YouTube channels. Start plugging into some Evo Psych. Let me find the book titles that I like here. Oh, Fingerprints of the Gods was another good one. Graham Hancock, guy's fucking brilliant. That's not Evo Psych per se. Yeah, Evolution of Desire, David Buss. Check it out. It's a good book. Don't blame snakes for doing what's in their nature, 100%. What else we got here? KP says, great stuff, Rich. Keep killing it. Anger not used as a conscious tool to an immediate end becomes a choice that pollutes your mind and pulls you off purpose. Dudes, you cannot accomplish anything great. There's absolutely no way in hell you can put a dent in the universe, no matter how big or how small you're aiming to do so, if you're carrying around bitterness. Ain't happening. Fucking promise you. Here, I'm going to grab the join link. Drop this in the chat. Join and ask a question. Start moving towards taking questions. I got a couple of summarized points here. I'm just going to I'll drop that in the chat. You guys can pile in. Make sure you have a good audio connection. And go back to my notes over here. So here's some quotes to consider from some smart people. It is hardly possible to build anything if frustration, bitterness, and a mood of helplessness prevail. To my point, you cannot put a dent in the universe if you're bitter. It has an underlying notion of victimhood. It has an underlying notion of helplessness. It has an underlying notion of anger and frustration. It's it's just a wasted mood. I talk about managing your Fs like they're a resource and not giving them away for free unnecessarily on dumb stuff that's not deserved of it. That's kind of like if you manage your energy correctly, you won't get bitter because you're just going to be like, all right, bad shit happened. I was angry for a second. I understand why. I see it in a new light now. I'm cool with it. See you later. And then you reserve your Fs for something that's more F worthy. Oh, Rich, this guy did a hit video on you. You got to go watch it right now. No, I don't, because I don't give a fuck. That's ZFG, man. I know from personal experience how damaging it can be to live with bitterness and unforgiveness. I like to say it's like taking poison and hoping your enemy will die. And it really is that harmful to us to live that way. There's another quote. Something my mom taught me years and years ago is life's too short to carry around a great bucket load of anger and resentment and bitterness and hatred. Resentment and guilt, guys. It's like filling up a big burlap bag full of bricks and throwing it over your shoulder. All right, let's carry this motherfucker around because everybody's going to see me carry it and think that I'm a big, strong, awesome dude and I'm deserving of all of their praise and blah, blah, fucking blah. This is essentially the narrative, the lie that we tell ourselves. Men love to complicate their lives and justify why. All you got to do is take that bag of bricks, fucking throw it down and just walk away from it. I know I make it sound simple, but can you do it? Can you put that shit down and walk away from it? All right. I think I got everything here. Yeah, again, guys, the remedy to all this bullshit is forgiveness and viewing the events in a clearer light. Most of the time when you get bitter, it's because your belief system, your safe world theory that you hold true to yourself is violated and it collapses like a house of cards. You build up this big fucking story, this narrative of a deck of cards, and the whole thing just comes crashing down. Oh, I'm bad now. I'm going to get bitter and hate everybody. Yee. Okay, that's one option. You can do that. Or you can see that you built your entire fucking belief system on a house of cards and it's not stable. See it in a new light. See the world for what it is and understand and then adapt. It's incumbent upon you as a dude to fucking grow, man. Ain't nobody holding your hand in the real world. They might do it in school. Your mommy might do it. Your single mommy might do it while you're growing up. Coddle your ass. Fucking real world doesn't coddle your ass.